At 3:00 a.m. in the dead of night, my roommate Sasha suddenly heard her boyfriend's voice echoing from downstairs. She instinctively called back. The next morning, she was dead. Manager Kim, trembling with fear, warned us it was the Soul-Calling Imp, a malevolent spirit, and we must never, ever answer its call. Yet, that very night, Manager Kim herself stood downstairs, calling out my name. Oren, run, quickly. Asterisk finals were looming, and my entire dorm room was pulling an all-nighter. It was precisely 3:00 a.m. Suddenly, Sasha, my roommate, turned her head towards the window and whispered, "Yes!" We all practically leaped out of our skin. Sasha claimed she'd heard her boyfriend calling from downstairs, leaving us utterly bewildered. In the profound silence of the dead of night, if someone truly was asterisk calling, why hadn't any asterisk of us heard it? Just then, Sasha murmured another, "Yes!" and with chilling speed, walked to the window, flung it wide open, and plunged out. Sasha didn't survive, passing away the following day. Police meticulously reviewed all campus surveillance footage, only to find no trace of Sasha's boyfriend. Their final verdict: Sasha had committed suicide due to severe anxiety. But we, her roommates, knew the chilling truth: Sasha had been possessed, claimed by a malevolent force. Jessie, gripped by sheer terror, hastily packed her belongings and fled to her boyfriend's place. Mia and I, equally shaken, began packing our bags, determined to escape to our hometown for a while. But fate had a crueler twist. The moment we stepped out the school gate, Mia's demeanor changed, as if something had possessed her. She abruptly lifted her head, her gaze fixed eerily on the road, and whispered, "Yes, I'm coming." Then, without hesitation, she walked straight into the path of an oncoming car. In a horrifying flash, Mia was struck down, killed instantly. I stood frozen, my blood turning to ice. It was undeniable, something was calling her, luring her to her death. Panic seized me, and I bolted, running blindly. At that precise moment, Manager Kim suddenly yanked me back from behind, her face an ashen mask, eyes wide with unadulterated terror. She hissed, Don't go any further, something is still clinging to you. If you persist, it will unleash its fury." I felt my blood turn to ice, my soul almost fleeing my body. Before I could even register her words, my phone rang. It was Jesse's boyfriend. His voice cracked as he delivered the devastating news: "Jesse is dead too." He recounted how, during dinner, she had abruptly turned to an empty chair beside her, a strange smile gracing her lips, and whispered, "Yes, coming right away." Then, she picked up her chopsticks and violently stabbed them straight into her mouth, piercing through to the other side of her head. My legs gave out beneath me, and I crumpled to the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. I pleaded with Manager Kim, begging her to reveal the truth, to explain this nightmare, but she merely shook her head, stammering incoherently, utterly unwilling to utter a single word, even as death surrounded us. I sank to my knees, repeatedly banging my head against the cold floor, tears streaming uncontrollably. At last, Manager Kim broke down, sobbing as she helped me up, her voice thick with anguish. "All three of them," she choked out. "They've all been claimed by the Soul-Calling Imp. I never imagined that thing would return after so many years. But what exactly was this thing? Why did it only target those of us in our dorm room?" Manager Kim fell silent, daring not to utter another word. Her only desperate plea, repeated over and over, was that no matter what I heard in the dead of night, I must absolutely, under no circumstances, answer. "Just endure for 3 days," she whispered, "and you will survive." With no other choice, I gritted my teeth and returned to the dorm. First, I took electrical tape and sealed my mouth shut. Then I put on my headphones and cranked the music to its absolute maximum. I was determined to block out any possibility of the malevolent call reaching me. I curled into a tight ball under my blanket, eyes wide and unblinking, fixed on the ceiling. I held that desperate vigil until dawn, yet throughout the entire night, I heard nothing, not a single sound. A wave of immense relief washed over me, and I immediately rushed to find Manager Kim. To my utter horror, she was dead. Her head was gruesomely wedged in the ceiling fan, shredded beyond recognition by its spinning blades, leaving only a blood-soaked neck. The new colleague who arrived for her shift erupted into hysterical sobs, convinced that Manager Kim must have inadvertently revealed a forbidden secret, thus incurring the imp's wrath. Then, in a fit of rage, she turned on me, screaming that I was a cursed omen, a jinx, and that I was the one who deserved to die. Other students joined in, hurling insults, calling me a harbinger of ill fortune, a vile entity that summoned evil. They locked me in my room, refusing to let me out, terrified I would bring harm to anyone else. My heart ached with such injustice that I broke down, burying my face and sobbing uncontrollably. At that very moment, I distinctly heard Manager Kim's voice echoing from downstairs. "Lauren, run, hurry!" My entire body convulsed, and I nearly bolted straight out the door. But a flicker of rationality caught me. What if this was merely the imp mimicking her voice, attempting to lure me out? Sasha, after all, had also responded to a similar call before leaping to her death. Furthermore, Manager Kim herself, when alive, had sternly warned me never to respond to any midnight calls. So why then would she suddenly be downstairs, calling my name? The thought jolted me, and I frantically clamped my hands over my ears, burrowing deeper into my blanket. Yet the voice grew relentlessly louder, seeming to whisper right into my ear. "Covering your ears is pointless," it insidious hissed. "Stab an eyebrow pencil through your eardrum, then you won't hear anything at all." In an instant, I felt my body betray me, losing all control. "Press harder, harder." The voice commanded, urgent and relentless. The sharp tip of the pencil hovered inches from my eardrum, and I felt myself spiraling into madness. Just then, my eyes darted to the bookshelf, where a copy of the Heart Sutra, written in Sanskrit, lay. Instinctively, I lunged for it, pressing it tightly against my ear. The moment it touched, a profound, resonant sound, like the tolling of a massive bell, reverberated through the room. Everything instantly fell silent, save for the frantic drumming of my own heart, hammering against my ribs as if it would burst. That Sanskrit Heart Sutra had been a personal gift from Master Wei, my philosophy teacher. He was a practitioner of both Buddhism and Taoism. Surely he would know how to save me. I frantically ran to his small, secluded courtyard. I found him in his meditation hall, deep in contemplation. Before I could utter a single word, Master Wei spoke, his eyes still closed. "I know everything," he said, then instructed me to present my Bazi. To my shock, after a brief glance, he frowned, his voice grave. "Your Bazi," he revealed, "carries a demonic taint. That thing has already fixed its gaze upon you. But even more dreadful is the abundance of inner demons festering within your heart, making escape from this ordeal nigh impossible." Hearing this, I was consumed by panic, collapsing to my knees and desperately pleading for my life. Master Wei merely let out a soft sigh. "Ah," he murmured, "it is all but debt, a karmic burden. When will it ever be fully repaid?" His words were a riddle to me, but he offered no further explanation. Instead, he simply gestured for me to tie up my hair, exposing my ear. He then explained he would use sacred cinnabar to inscribe a heart sutra around my ear. This would prevent the soul-calling imp from entering my dharma ear, and all I had to do was clench my jaw and survive this one night to save my life. With a trembling voice, I pressed him, "What is that imp exactly? And why did Manager Kim say that asterisk thing had returned?" Master Wei hesitated, his face clouding over with a stern, unyielding expression. "If you wish to live," he stated gravely, "do not ask too many questions." Manager Kim's death, he implied, was a stark warning. The sheer terror of his words silenced me. I dared not utter another query. Master Wei then lit incense and, grasping his brush, began to draw. The chilling tip of the brush touched my earlobe, each stroke an unsettling, deep stimulation. I felt as if every single line scraped against my most tender, vulnerable parts. Moments later, I found myself uncontrollably damp below. But what truly baffled me was this. The Heart Sutra was a sacred, revered text, so why was it igniting such an intense, carnal desire within me? This was clearly more than mere physical stimulation. My entire body trembled, and several times I almost let out a moan. Master Wei, observing my struggle, sternly admonished me. "You must restrain yourself," he commanded. "This is the Heart Sutra battling the inner demons within your heart. Desire breeds instability. Only with a tranquil mind can one find true peace." I forced myself to nod, gritting my teeth against the strange, escalating sensations. Mercifully, it was over shortly thereafter. Master Wei gravely cautioned me. Once back in the dorm, I was absolutely forbidden from bathing, from allowing any impure or carnal thoughts to arise, and most critically, from trusting a single word spoken by anyone. He warned that once it discovered the Heart Sutra inscribed around my ear, it would undoubtedly exploit others, manipulating them to persuade me to remove it. Should that happen, he concluded, not even the gods themselves could save me. A chilling dread snaked down my spine, and I could only nod, etching every one of his terrifying words into my memory. I hastily departed Master Wei's compound, a flicker of fragile relief finally settling in my heart. Just then, a voice, startlingly close, echoed from behind me. "Sis, why do you have that? Lust charm drawn on your ear?" I jumped, spinning around to find Ethan Liu, a junior who had been persistently pursuing me. "Erase it immediately," he urged. "That's a cursed talisman. Someone is trying to harm you." My heart leaped with a sudden, chilling panic. Master Wei had warned me. The imp will borrow others' bodies to lie, luring you to remove the protective talisman. I never imagined it would manifest so swiftly, nor that it would use Ethan Liu's form. Without a second thought, I spun on my heel and bolted. But he was faster, seizing my wrist in a crushing grip that sent a jolt of searing pain through me. "That lust charm is designed to lure imps to mate with you," he hissed, his voice disturbingly intense. "You'll either be forced to conceive a ghost baby or be transformed into a slave of demonic desires. Erase it quickly." His words plunged my mind into utter chaos, an abyss of confusion. For ever since I left Master Wei's, my body had indeed been reacting incessantly, a strange heat and dampness spreading below. Yet, I had known Ethan Liu for over half a year, and he had never, not once, shown any knowledge of Buddhist scriptures or talismans. The more emphatically he spoke, the deeper my suspicion grew. He had to be possessed by the imp. I desperately shoved him away, bolting straight back to the dorm. I slammed the door shut, my heart hammering wildly in my chest, a drumbeat of terror. Even in the supposed safety of my room, a profound unease gnawed at me. I immediately snapped a picture of my ear and frantically compared it to the paper copy of the Sanskrit Heart Sutra. To my immense relief, they were perfectly identical. But my sense of security was fleeting, my body still burned, and an uncontrollable tremor ran through me. I rushed to search online for the official version of the Heart Sutra. The site left me utterly stunned. From beginning to end, not a single character matched. If that was the case, what in the world had Master Wei actually drawn on my ear? But then, last night, it had unequivocally saved my life. At that very moment, Ethan Liu sent me a picture, an image of an ancient book page, explicitly detailing the lust charm in Sanskrit. My breath hitched, and I went utterly numb at the sight of the first 3 characters. They were an exact, terrifying match for what was etched on my ear. But how could Ethan Liu possess such esoteric knowledge and artifacts? My mind reeled, spiraling deeper into a vortex of confusion with every thought. After agonizing deliberation, I resolved to confront Master Wei directly and demand an explanation. Surely, in broad daylight, he wouldn't dare try to harm me. To my shock, the moment I stepped out of the dorm, Ethan Liu was there, blocking my path. He stared directly into my eyes, his voice chillingly calm. "Right now, don't trust anyone he stated. "Only trust your own body's feelings. Pay attention if you feel any. Desire *. His words pierced through my greatest fear, seizing my throat, leaving me utterly speechless. But I absolutely could not betray any reaction. Until I had verified everything with Master Wei, anything Ethan Liu said could merely be a cunning trap designed to ensnare me. I turned sharply, attempting to walk away, but he clung relentlessly to my heels, his voice growing more intense, more insistent. "Master Wei's true aim is to lure you back," he pressed. "Then he will bind you with cinnabar-soaked ropes and strike you with a whisk exactly 49 times. He'll claim it's exorcism, but in truth, it's to activate the lust charm. Once that demonic entity fuses with you, not even the gods themselves will be able to save you." His chilling pronouncement sent my heart hammering against my ribs, and an icy dread snaked down my spine. Yet, the very precision of his words, how they struck directly at my deepest fears, paradoxically made me feel an unsettling strangeness. I clamped my hands over my ears and bolted forward, running as if my life depended on it. I had to find Master Wei, I had to get to the bottom of this. Even if death awaited me, I refused to die in such bewildering ambiguity. Master Wei was tending to his flowers. The moment he saw me rush in, breathless and distraught, his expression instantly transformed. "You've encountered it already, haven't you?" he queried. I started to explain about Ethan Liu, but a sudden, chilling apprehension struck me. What if Master Wei himself was compromised? Wouldn't revealing Ethan's words be akin to sealing my own fate? Swallowing my fears, I simply shook my head, remaining silent about Ethan, and directly posed my question. "Master Wei, I began, my voice trembling, Why is it that ever since you drew the Heart Sutra around my ear, I've been plagued by such overwhelming carnal desires? Asterisk Master Wei let out a heavy sigh, shaking his head. I never realized, he murmured, that the inner demons within your heart were quite so potent. With that, he led me into his meditation hall. From an inner sanctum, he reverently carried out a statue of a fierce-faced deity. This, he explained, was a guardian spirit designed to purge inner demons, instructing me to light incense and prostrate myself before it. Yet, the moment I drew near, the flames on both candles flickered wildly, then suddenly tilted sharply backward, as if the spiritual energies emanating from me and the statue were violently clashing. Master Wei's face instantly paled. He declared that the evil qi within my body had permeated too deeply, and exorcism was paramount before I could even approach the deity. As he spoke, he produced a vibrant red string, smeared with cinnabar, and a traditional whisk. He muttered an incantation. Cinnabar-stained rope binds the weeping ghost. Silk whisk cleaves the heart's dark foe. Then, with an utterly serious expression, he instructed me to remove all my clothes, allow him to bind me with the cinnabar string, and then he would strike me 49 times with the whisk to thoroughly purge all impure thoughts and bring serenity to my mind. I stood utterly stunned, horrified by the chilling familiarity of his words. They were identical to Ethan Liu's warning. Yet, Master Wei's face was devoid of any malice or lewdness, radiating only solemn intent. Still, the demand to strip naked, be bound with red cords, and then whipped 49 times. How could I possibly believe this was a legitimate, righteous spiritual practice? Despite his solemn demeanor, the notion of stripping naked, being bound with red cords, and enduring 49 lashes, how could I possibly believe this was a righteous, legitimate spiritual practice? Just then, a sudden, violent cramp seized my abdomen. I immediately realized with a jolt that my menstrual period had arrived. A moment later, my pants were saturated with blood. Frantically, I explained my situation to Master Wei. He merely let out a soft sigh. Ah, it is heaven's will. I couldn't comprehend his meaning, but he offered no further explanation, simply instructing me to return to the dorm, promising to devise an alternative method. I hastily gathered my belongings and, without a moment's hesitation, called Ethan Liu. He confirmed he was waiting for me at the octagonal pavilion just below my dorm. I bolted towards him in a desperate panic. The moment I opened my mouth to speak, Ethan Liu swiftly raised a hand to silence me, then pulled a talisman from his pocket and pressed it firmly onto a pillar of the pavilion. Only then, in a hushed whisper, did he say, "All right, it was still clinging to you just now." Hearing this, a fresh wave of goosebumps erupted across my skin, and an icy dread crawled up my spine. Though I still had no idea what Ethan Liu's intentions truly were, his ability to use talismans at least proved he wasn't merely possessed. At this point, Ethan Liu drew a heavy medallion from beneath his shirt. "This," he declared, his voice low, "is the 5 Thunder Command Plate of the Jiaxiao Taoist sect. I am a true successor of the Jiaxiao lineage. My father strictly forbade me from casually employing magic on campus, which is why I've always concealed my true identity. But now, with 3 lives already claimed, I can no longer stand idly by and watch you be harmed." His words moved me so deeply, I almost wept with relief. I poured out the entire horrifying account of my encounter with Master Wei. Ethan Liu let out a profound sigh of relief. "This," he declared, "is truly heaven's will saving you, Lauren." I was momentarily bewildered, not quite grasping his meaning. Ethan Liu then explained that both divine beings and malevolent spirits are intensely repulsed by women's menstrual blood. It was precisely because my period had just begun that Master Wei's sinister spell had been temporarily thwarted. "But he will absolutely find another way," Ethan warned. "He won't give up so easily." My voice trembled as I asked, "So what exactly does Master Wei want with me? Why is he doing this to me?" Ethan Liu, surprisingly, didn't answer immediately. Instead, he pulled me straight to the school's guarded records room. He then stealthily affixed a talisman to the back of a manager on duty. Instantly, the manager's eyes glazed over, and he became utterly blank, moving like a lifeless puppet. Ethan Liu swiftly sought to calm me. "Don't be afraid," he murmured. "This talisman harms no one. At this point, I know it's impossible for you to trust anyone's words, so I want you to witness the undeniable evidence with your own eyes." The manager, under the talisman spell, deactivated all surveillance cameras, then led us into a hidden room and opened a formidable safe. Ethan Liu retrieved a thick file, its cover clearly bearing the name Professor Wang. He turned to me, his gaze piercing. "Do you know how old Master Wei truly is?" The question struck me as bizarre. I pondered for a moment before responding. "Around 40, I suppose." Ethan Liu immediately opened the file. There, in stark, undeniable print, was the entry, date of birth, May 15, 1823. My scalp prickled with an icy dread, my entire body growing cold. Over 200 years old, Master Wei, this was utterly insane. But as I continued to flip through the subsequent pages, my mind went completely numb. Master Wei's true identity, it revealed, was that of a powerful Feng Shui master, a confidant to Hong Ziyuquan during the tumultuous era of the Taping Heavenly Kingdom. Ostensibly, he aided Hong Ziyuquan in his bloody pursuit of power and gain. Yet, in the shadows, he meticulously harvested the souls of the dead to cultivate malevolent spirits, all in his relentless quest for eternal life. Eventually, his dark arts were decisively shattered by disciples of the Jiaxiao sect, wielding the mighty Five Thunder spell, forcing him to flee deep into the mountains. During the tumultuous era of the Republic of China, he seized the opportunity of widespread unrest to re-emerge, subtly infiltrating universities. He presented himself as a spiritual guide and teacher, but his true, insidious purpose was to ensnare female students, exploiting their innate spiritual energy to summon souls and cultivate malevolent entities, all in his desperate bid to sustain his youth and life. As for the school's leadership, they were fully aware of his past as Hong Ziyuquan's notorious Feng Shui master, but their sole concern was personal advancement and wealth. The deaths of a few students meant absolutely nothing to them. My legs instantly gave way and I crumpled to the floor. Ethan Liu quickly caught me, his voice a low, urgent whisper. "These very files," he stressed, "are the only reason those administrators tread carefully around Master Wei. I myself only stumbled upon this horrifying truth by chance, having once volunteered in the archives." But a new, terrifying question still gnawed at my mind. "Master Wei only summons souls and cultivates demons, right?" I asked, my voice barely audible. "Then why did he place the lust charm on me?" Ethan Liu immediately requested my Bazi. After a moment's study, he frowned deeply, his voice slow and heavy. "Your Bazi," he revealed, "is a Ghost Bazi, an incredibly rare alignment, occurring only once every century. It seems that because Master Wei practices such dark magic, he is forever forbidden from physical contact with women, doomed to a lifetime without heirs. And in ancient traditions, having no offspring is considered the gravest form of unfilial conduct. Only a girl bearing a Ghost Bazi, like yours, can enable him to conceive a ghost baby, a demonic heir to continue his lineage." My head felt as though it had been cleaved by a thunderbolt, exploding with a deafening roar. Everything before my eyes abruptly plunged into darkness. Ethan Liu used 6 crimson threads to bind a bagua mirror, hanging it precisely above my dorm room doorway, its reflective surface aimed directly at my headboard. "This technique," he explained, "is called bright mirror illuminating the hall. Remember to keep that lust charm on your ear. Tonight, if we can lure Master Wei's soul to manifest, this bagua mirror will instantly reflect and imprison his spirit." Hearing this, a sliver of reassurance finally settled in my heart. I hesitated, then tentatively proposed, Could you stay in my room tonight?" Ethan Liu's face flushed a deep crimson, and he replied, his voice a little strained, "Honestly, Lauren, I desperately want to stay. But Master Wei is an ancient, cunning devil. He'll undoubtedly sense the presence of a Five Thunder Taoist. I can only conceal myself near the dorm, secretly guarding you from the shadows." Before he departed, he pulled me into a fierce embrace, whispering softly into my ear, "I love you, Lauren. I won't let anything, anything, hurt you." Truth be told, in that fleeting moment, I was so profoundly moved I felt tears welling up. Ethan Liu hadn't been gone for long when a sharp rap echoed at my door, "Master Wei." In that split second, every hair on my body stood on end. Terrified of betraying my secret, I forced myself to stifle my escalating fear and reluctantly opened the door. Master Wei's voice was gravely serious. "If your inner demons are not thoroughly purged," he warned, "that ** thing will undoubtedly exploit any weakness and claim your life." He claimed he had just devised a new, infallible method to completely subdue it and had come specifically to instruct me to cooperate. I struggled to maintain a facade of calm, but my body instinctively recoiled a step. Master Wei's piercing gaze immediately caught the movement. He frowned, his eyes narrowing. "It has already come for you, hasn't it?" I fumbled with my hair, deliberately exposing the lust charm on my ear, feigning an air of composure. "No, master," I said, trying for nonchalance. "I've been in my room the whole time, haven't seen a soul." But Master Wei paid no heed to my words. His eyes swept across the room, meticulously examining every nook and cranny. Swiftly, his gaze locked onto the Bagua mirror hanging by the door. "Ghost mirror illuminating the path," he intoned. I froze, a wave of icy dread washing over me. Hadn't Ethan Liu called it the bright mirror illuminating the hall? Why was Master Wei calling it the ghost mirror illuminating the path? At that moment, Master Wei produced another Bagua mirror from his robe, explaining that his new method also involved setting up a bright mirror illuminating the hall to suppress malevolence. But he insisted the mirror I was currently hanging was a ghost Bagua. As he spoke, he violently ripped Ethan Liu's mirror from the wall, flipping it over to reveal its reverse side. I gasped, utterly aghast. The back of the mirror was adorned with blood-red symbols, drawn in cinnabar, twisting and coiling like a malevolent curse. Master Wei's voice was grave, chilling. "This," he intoned, "is called the Ghost Golden Ram, one of the most sinister constellations of the 28 mansions. While a Bagua mirror is inherently a potent Taoist artifact, once it's contaminated by the Ghost Golden Ram, a bright mirror illuminating the hall transmutes into a ghost mirror illuminating the path, thereby nullifying the protective Heart Sutra spell on your ear." My head reeled, utterly overwhelmed, but the mention of the Heart Sutra ignited a fresh surge of defiance. I couldn't hold back any longer. I pulled out my phone, displaying the photographic evidence, and confronted him directly. "This is not the Heart Sutra," I declared, my voice trembling with accusation. "It's the lust charm. How do you explain that asterisk, Master Wei?" Master Wei's face instantly contorted, a look of panicked horror flashing across it. "Oh no," he gasped. "You've been ensnared by its asterisk veiling art." "Asterisk veiling art." Asterisk, I echoed, my confusion deepening. Master Wei seized my shoulder, his grip painfully tight, and demanded, his voice a low growl. "Who did you meet today? Did you have any physical contact? If you conceal anything, everyone will perish together." Master Wei's intense gaze and strained tone did not frighten me. Instead, it was his question about physical contact that sent a fresh jolt of terror through my heart. I vividly recalled that as I fled, Ethan Liu had clamped my wrist, his grip so fierce it had caused me searing pain. I immediately lowered my eyes to the pulse point on my wrist. To my horror, a thumb-sized black mark had appeared there, though I had no idea when. Master Wei's face went utterly ashen. "This is ghost vein suppression," he declared, his voice tight. "It's a core technique of the veiling art." My mind spun in utter disarray. Master Wei seized a chunk of cinnabar and rubbed it vigorously over the black mark on my wrist. Instantly, an icy current, like a bolt of freezing lightning, shot up my spine to the crown of my head. I shuddered violently, and my mind abruptly cleared as if a heavy fog had lifted. Master Wei commanded, "Look again." Startled, I peered into the mirror. And indeed, there it was. Clearly inscribed on my ear was the Heart Sutra, in perfect Sanskrit. This revelation explained why the paper Heart Sutra had saved me last night and terrifyingly suggested that everything I had witnessed in the records room could have been a meticulously crafted illusion. The realization that I couldn't even trust my own eyes and ears plunged me into profound panic. That black handprint, after all, had appeared far too strangely. Slowly, terrifyingly, I began to comprehend. The one who sought to harm me was not Ethan Liu, but the malevolent entity that had possessed his body. After careful consideration, I finally recounted the entire horrifying ordeal to Master Wei, my only hope being that he could also save Ethan Liu. To my utter astonishment, Master Wei visibly trembled, then blurted out, "I never imagined such a ploy." I was momentarily dumbstruck, utterly failing to grasp the meaning of his words. Then, Master Wei took a handful of cinnabar and violently slapped it against the wall. Moments later, dark streaks, unmistakably the grout lines between the bricks, began to appear on the cinnabar-covered surface. Master Wei's voice deepened, a somber rumble. "This," he revealed, "is death qi." My scalp prickled, a terrifying numbness spreading. Death qi. In the dorm walls, Master Wei's gaze met mine, his voice heavy with dread. Your dorm room, Lauren, he began, was in truth once a sacrificial chamber. Every single person who resides here has already been pre-selected, marked as a sacrifice. None can escape. My entire body went cold. A sacrifice for whom? Did the school truly not care? Master Wei sighed, pulling an old photograph from his phone. The image depicted the dorm area under construction, with a Taoist priest performing an elaborate ritual directly on the unfinished structure. I was utterly bewildered. Master Wei then explained. 10 years prior, during the construction of this dorm block, a worker suffered a sudden, fatal accident. Both the construction company and the school vehemently refused to offer compensation. Enraged, the other workers employed a dark, ancient magic, the Liu Ban spell, mixing the deceased worker's ashes into the very cement used to construct this room, room 404. Subsequent construction was plagued by a relentless string of accidents. They eventually called in a Taoist priest to suppress the disturbances, only then uncovering the horrifying, malicious plot. However, the vengeful ghost, born from the potent Liu Ban magic, could only be appeased, not entirely eradicated. After numerous confrontations, the Taoist priest was ultimately forced to concede, accepting the vengeful ghost's chilling condition. Once every 5 years, female students residing in this room must be offered as sacrifices in exchange for tranquility across the entire dorm complex. And this year marked the 10th anniversary. We were the second group of offerings. Manager Kim's dying words, "That asterisk thing has returned," suddenly resonated with a terrifying, absolute clarity. My head felt like it would burst. I couldn't hear anything else. But Master Wei didn't stop there. He continued, his voice growing even more ominous. The worker who died all those years ago was named Liu San, and if my deduction is correct, Ethan Liu is his son. With that chilling revelation, he immediately opened his computer and searched for Ethan Liu's personal file. There, under the trainer section, it was emblazoned in stark detail. Liu San. I felt my sanity fraying, on the verge of snapping. But a new question pierced through my terror. Couldn't that vengeful ghost simply kill me outright? Why go through the elaborate charade of having its son, Ethan Liu, approach me? Master Wei's voice deepened, heavy with grim explanation. That, he clarified, is because your Ghost Bazi is extraordinarily rare, a phenomenon seen perhaps once in a century. Therefore, it orchestrated its son's approach to you to transform the sacrificial ritual into a macabre ghost wedding. I felt completely numb, my mind reeling. So, the ghost mirror illuminating the path was, in fact, meant to illuminate a wedding chamber, preparing for a sinister ghost wedding. But after all these horrifying revelations, a stark truth crystallized. I could no longer fully trust anyone's asterisk words. It was unequivocally clear that both Master Wei and Ethan Liu were cunningly targeting my unique Ghost Bazi, leading them to turn against each other in this deadly struggle. My only chance for survival lay in exacerbating their suspicion, in fueling their bitter conflict. I took a deep, shaky breath, desperately trying to regain my composure. Then, feigning a tremor in my voice, I bowed my head in abject apology, pleading with Master Wei to save me. Master Wei gently patted my shoulder, his voice firm and grave. "Don't panic," he commanded, "and absolutely do not reveal any weakness." With that, he handed me his own Bagua mirror, instructing me to clutch it tightly to my chest while I slept. "Should you hear any disturbance," he cautioned, "immediately raise the mirror and shine it. Even if it fails to capture it, it can still injure it, depleting its vital energy. Remember this well. Never allow yourself to be deluded again." The instant Master Wei departed, I plummeted back into a swirling abyss of doubt. If among these two men, one truly was a good soul risking everything to protect me, then wouldn't my current scheme ultimately lead to their demise? The thought gnawed at me, making me feel utterly cruel, utterly without virtue. Just then, Ethan Liu's WeChat message chimed on my phone. "There's something I nearly forgot to tell you," he wrote. "Earlier today, I secretly imprinted a 5 thunder seal on your wrist. It's a divine protection sigil, remember not to cover it, and never wipe it off." His message arrived with unsettling precision, only fueling my burgeoning suspicion. I wondered, was he still lurking nearby, secretly eavesdropping on my entire conversation with Master Wei? But then, another thought struck me. Master Wei had claimed Ethan Liu had cast a veiling art upon me. What if everything I had just witnessed with my own eyes was merely a meticulously woven illusion? I recalled the moment Master Wei had fiercely gripped my shoulder earlier. I immediately pulled down my collar to check. Mercifully, there was no mark, no black trace whatsoever. Yet I truly, desperately did not want to suspect Ethan Liu. I knew that the more I allowed my emotions to dictate my judgment, the deeper I would sink into this bewildering chaos. So, I forced myself to pull back, to adopt a purely objective perspective. Ethan Liu's story, though thrilling and laced with supernatural fantasy, felt inherently fantastical. Master Wei's narrative, on the other hand, seemed grounded, more logical and believable. But then, a new inconsistency arose. Initially, Master Wei had only offered passive assistance. Why was he now actively seeking me out, coming directly to me? Ethan Liu, by contrast, had pursued me because of his affection, seeking every opportunity to be near me. That, ironically, made him seem more credible. Before I could process these conflicting thoughts, my mind once again spiraled into disarray. But this time, a single, undeniable truth emerged. Even if my fate was to die, I could not, would not, be the cause of death for someone who genuinely sought to protect me. I swiftly composed myself, meticulously analyzing the situation to find a precarious balance. The 5 thunder seal on my wrist had been obscured by cinnabar. I immediately, thoroughly washed the cinnabar away. The cinnabar, I realized, was a deception, but the 5 thunder seal was a genuine protective charm. I had to keep it. I retained the Heart Sutra on my ear, intending for it to act as a counterweight to the 5 thunder seal, thus creating a precarious equilibrium. Both Bagua mirrors, I decided to hold them both close, cradled against my chest. My hope was that they would either neutralize each other, returning me to a 0 state of vulnerability, or that one would prove stronger, suppressing the other. At the very least, this was my choice. Whatever the ultimate outcome, I had chosen my path. Those who loved me had fought with all their might to save me, and as for destiny, I had done everything humanly possible. All preparations made, I lay down on the bed, immediately enveloped by a terrifying silence. My heart hammered, a frantic drum beat so loud it threatened to burst my eardrums. I hastily donned my headphones, playing soothing music, desperate for a moment of calm. But just as a sliver of tranquility settled over me, the music abruptly cut out. In its place, an urgent, frantic voice spoke. "It's me. It's Manager Wang, don't be afraid." I jolted upright, my heart leaping into my throat. My immediate, primal reflex screamed. Was this the vengeful ghost again, mimicking Manager Wang's voice to lure my soul away? But then I reconsidered. At this critical juncture, why bother with lures? Why wouldn't it just kill me directly and be done with it? What if, against all odds, Manager Wang truly had a vital message to convey? I fought to suppress my fear, listening intently, absolutely refusing to utter a single word in reply. The voice in my headphones continued, its words clipped and hurried. Master Wei and Ethan Liu are working together. Because your soul, with its rare Ghost Bazi, is incredibly difficult to ensnare, they were trying to. Before it could complete its sentence, a ghastly, blood-curdling scream erupted in my ear, followed by nothing but a harsh, grating static that pierced through my skull. I utterly collapsed, my spirit shattered. It had to be that Manager Wang, having died, had become a ghost capable of seeing through the deception, and had tried to warn me, only to be discovered and suppressed by the vengeful ghost. So, Master Wei and Ethan Liu had been pretending to be adversaries all along, but were, in fact, allies, meticulously orchestrating a distraction to easily ensnare my incredibly rare, century-unique Ghost Bazi soul. But then, a flicker of doubt sparked within me. They were strangers before this. They had only recently become like enemies. What logical reason could there be for them to be in league? Or was that too just the vengeful ghost, mimicking Manager Wang's voice to further disrupt my choices? Because, unequivocally, one of these 2 men was genuinely trying to save me. At this thought, my head felt like it would explode. I was on the verge of collapsing when a gaping, critical flaw in the entire narrative suddenly became apparent. I replayed it in my mind. If the Heart Sutra around my ear was powerful enough to block even the formidable calls of the vengeful Soul-Calling Imp, then why could it not block the voice of Manager Wang, who was merely a newly departed ghost? In other words, Master Wei had to be lying. The realization hit me like a jolt of electricity, and I instantly leaped out of bed. I stormed into the bathroom, violently hurling Master Wei's Bagua mirror into the toilet. Then, With frantic determination, I used soap to scrub away the lust charm from my ear. But as I finished scrubbing, I abruptly froze. Another thought, chilling and precise, flashed through my mind. Manager Wang in life had been a meek, timid woman, barely daring to raise her voice. After death, why would she dare to risk her very soul to defy the vengeful ghost and save me? Moreover, our interactions had always been superficial, limited to mere nods of greeting. What conceivable reason would she have to sacrifice her spectral essence for my sake? Even my closest, most intimate roommates hadn't appeared in my dreams to warn me. Why only her? I plunged once again into a maelstrom of confusion. But then I sternly reminded myself, I couldn't allow fear to turn me into a cynical cynic, doubting everyone. If in my perception this world was nothing but deceit and malevolence, then even if I survived, what meaning would such a life hold? Instead of letting my mind spiral into wild conjecture, I decided to take a gamble. After all, the most terrifying fate wasn't death itself, but dying without ever knowing whom I had mistakenly trusted. I grabbed my phone and called Ethan Liu. He answered, confirming he was downstairs, near the octagonal pavilion, a spot from which he could see my dorm room window. Disregarding his surprised attempts to stop me, I raced downstairs, breathlessly recounting Master Wei's recent visit and his ominous instructions. Ethan Liu's brows furrowed deeply, a grim expression on his face. I never realized that vengeful ghost was so incredibly persistent, constantly dismantling my protective formations, he muttered. It seems there's only one path left. I must break my sacred vows and use the full force of the 5 Thunder spell to utterly destroy that entity. I deliberately feigned an expression of profound gratitude and unwavering trust. If he genuinely eliminated Master Wei with his own hands, then every single one of my suspicions would be unequivocally proven. Ethan Liu led me to the school's rooftop. He began to form intricate hand seals, his lips moving in a rapid, hushed chant. The once pale blue sky rapidly darkened, churning with ominous black clouds, as thunder rumbled ominously and lightning streaked across the heavens. He stomped his foot with powerful resolve, extended his fingers like a sword, and bellowed, "Strike!" Instantly, a colossal bolt of lightning ripped through the tempestuous clouds, descending with devastating force directly upon Master Wei's location. He roared 2 more commands, "Strike! Strike!" 2 more explosive lightning bolts slammed into the same spot, shaking the very ground beneath us. But in that exact, horrifying moment, Ethan Liu staggered, a gush of dark blood erupting from his mouth before he crumpled to the ground. I was utterly frantic, rushing to his side, cradling him. He managed a strained, bitter smile, his voice a hoarse whisper. It's all right. This is merely the penalty for breaking my vows. I won't die." Then he recounted his story. Ethan Liu, he revealed, possessed extraordinary innate talent for Taoist magic. But in an era rife with demons and malevolent entities, his family, fearing he would meet a tragic end, had compelled him to swear an oath before graduating university. He must absolutely never use the 5 Thunder spell. To break this vow meant not only the irreversible loss of all his spiritual power, but also being forever severed from the path of cultivation. Yet, solely to save me, he had willingly accepted all these devastating consequences. My mind was truly in turmoil. If his words were true, then I would carry an unbearable burden of guilt and regret for the rest of my life. But my rational mind, ever vigilant, urged me not to let emotion cloud my judgment. Only when faced with undeniable, tangible truth could I believe. I half-dragged, half-carried Ethan Liu back towards Master Wei's courtyard. The sight that greeted us plunged me into shock so profound I nearly fainted. In the center of the courtyard, Master Wei sat cross-legged within a chilling ritual formation composed of candles, his entire body struck by lightning and burned to a blackened, skeletal husk. Ethan Liu pointed a trembling, weak finger. "This," he rasped, "is his soul-calling formation, and that deity statue, that is the malevolent spirit he was worshipping alongside." I shuddered uncontrollably. That statue, wasn't it a guardian angel Master Wei forced me to bow to? My entire body went rigid with icy dread. Ethan Liu instructed me to lift the statue. Beneath it, pressed tightly, was my Bazi chart. Everything instantly became terrifyingly clear. The one who truly sought to ensnare my soul was Master Wei. A wave of immense relief, laced with horror, washed over me. Thankfully, I hadn't falsely accused Ethan Liu. But then, without warning, he suddenly collapsed to the ground. I cried out, terrified, embracing him. Ethan Liu, his voice barely a whisper, weakly tried to reassure me. "I'm all right," he rasped, struggling for breath. In that moment, a profound realization dawned on me. The connection between people, if not rooted in genuine love, rendered all fervent actions as mere manipulation. With this clarity, I immediately relayed Manager Wang's final, garbled message from the headphones to Ethan Liu. His face instantly twisted in disbelief. "Impossible!" he exclaimed. I inscribed the Heavenly Dipper diagram onto that Bagua mirror. Even Master Wei feared it, let alone a newly departed ghost like Manager Wang. The truth is, the one speaking through your headphones was the malevolent spirit from the deity statue. It coveted your Ghost Bazi, seeking to possess your body for its own rebirth, and Master Wei was merely its puppet. I leaned against him, dissolving into tears. "Oh God," I sobbed, "we have nothing left, what do we do now?" Ethan Liu's eyes darted around, then fixed on a broken branch in the courtyard, shattered by the recent lightning strikes. "This," he declared, his voice regaining a desperate strength, "is thunder wood, it can destroy evil." He thrust the branch into my trembling hand, urging me to smash the malevolent spirit statue and break the formation. I gritted my teeth, swung the thunder wood with all my might, and brought it down. The statue shattered into countless fragments, and a sigh of relief escaped my lips. But before I could even turn, Ethan Liu lunged forward, knocking the thunder wood from my grasp, his hands clamping violently around my neck. A cold, chilling smile spread across his face. "Fool," he sneered, his voice dripping with venom, still clinging to the delusion of love. I stood stunned, utterly disbelieving. Was this the consequence of my choice? I deserved this. Just as despair threatened to consume me, I heard Ethan Liu's voice, choked and desperate. "I'm possessed by the malevolent spirit," he gasped. "Quickly, use the thunder wood. Strike my fontanelle." A sudden jolt of understanding surged through me. My choice wasn't wrong after all. This time, it was my turn to protect him, Ethan Liu. I bent to retrieve the thunder wood, but the malevolent spirit instantly reasserted control over Ethan Liu's body, its voice a sinister chuckle. "If you dare to strike," it hissed, "he will perish, his soul scattered to the winds along with mine. Do you truly wish to murder the one you claim to love with your own hands?" I stood frozen, paralyzed. Ethan Liu struggled valiantly for control, his voice fracturing as he cried out, "Hurry, don't hesitate. My destiny is to protect you. If you die, my entire life becomes utterly meaningless. Do it." The malevolent spirit, regaining its iron grip, lunged at me again, its hands clamping around my throat, pinning me brutally against the wall. I heard the horrifying, distinct asterisk crack of my neck bones. Ethan Liu's face contorted, weeping and laughing maniacally. "You want to save her?" it hissed through his lips. "It's simple. Strike your own fontanelle. Give me your body, and I will spare her life." I nodded, my hand shaking uncontrollably as I raised the thunder wood. Ethan Liu shook his head wildly, tears streaming down his face without end. But I couldn't let the man I loved die for me. If death was my fate, then I accepted it. The moment I was about to strike my own head, 3 deafening lightning bolts, crack, 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 slammed directly onto Ethan Liu's fontanelle. He crumpled to the ground, lifeless. I fell to my knees, screaming Ethan Liu's name, my heart tearing apart. A venerable, ancient voice resonated from behind me. "Little girl, do not blame yourself." I looked up, my vision blurring, to see an old man emerging from the deepening shadows. The old man spoke with serene gravity. "I am Than Fong's father. I knew he had broken his sacred vows by wielding the 5 thunder spell, so I had to project my own soul to save him." I was utterly bewildered, but to save him? Why strike your own son's head with such devastating lightning? The old man's voice softened, filled with ancient wisdom. "The 5 thunders only annihilate malevolent spirits. They do not harm the innocent. Do not fear." Then he let out a profound sigh. Every true Taoist cultivator faces the 5 calamities and 3 deficiencies: isolation, sickness, poison, and affliction. Than Fong fell under the poison aspect, which is why I strictly forbade him from employing his magic. Had he upheld his vow, he could have married you one day. But to break his vows, to save you, that too is heaven's will. Do not lament, do not burden yourself with guilt. With those words, the old man gently lifted Ethan Liu's lifeless body, and together they slowly faded into the void, disappearing as if they had never been. 6 months later, I moved into a new dorm room, surrounded by new faces. But not a single day passed where I could find true peace in sleep. Unable to contact Ethan Liu, I grew gaunt and frail, a ghost of my former self. One day, a casual comment reached me. I heard that Ethan Liu had a terminal illness even before he enrolled here. I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that it was a blatant lie, a fabrication to conceal the agonizing truth. He had died because of me. That night at precisely 3:00 a.m., I stared, tears streaming down my face, at Ethan Liu's picture on my phone, crying until my eyes were dry and hollow. Suddenly, I heard his voice, clear as a bell, echoing from the dorm courtyard below. "Lauren, come down, quickly." I jolted upright, my heart hammering against my ribs, and ran straight to the window. The story ends here. It's over.